Hey friends, Nate with Keyrenter Property Management here, and there are three things that I think every landlord should know about wear and tear and approaching a tenant move out. And if you have a tenant that's looking to move out in the next week, months, year, whatever it is, feel free to reach out to our team. We can talk about your situation, or if you had a tenant move out and you just want to run a situation by us, we're happy to help out. We give free advice all the time. Not legal advice, not accounting advice. We're not attorneys. We're not CPAs, but landlord advice. We are professional landlords. That's what we do. We own, we manage rental property. But these three things come down to, number one, the philosophy around wear and tear and the way the court system and judges and even attorneys approach wear and tear is kind of a moving target. There are many examples, and the Fit Premises Act in the state of Utah outlines some of these things that would be considered wear and tear, but for the most part, there's more of a philosophy around it. And I'm not going to spend the next 10, 15 minutes outlining all of the items that are wear and tear and the items that are not, because there's really not an all-encompassing list and a comprehensive list of items. I'll share a few examples of it, but we'll keep it at that. So a moving target, what I mean by that is what one judge might say is wear and tear if a tenant were to, say, dispute the charges that you're deducting from their deposit, and rather than settling, you decide, no, I'm gonna prove in the court of law that these charges are legitimate, which, first of all, we don't recommend that you go to court for much of anything. It's always best to stay out of the courtroom, but in the event that you need to, just be forewarned that oftentimes the judge may not see your wear and tear or your damage as actual damage. They might see it as wear and tear. Oftentimes, courts side on the side of tenants because you're the big nasty landlord, right? You're in business to make a profit, and they're the poor tenant. And oftentimes there's a sob story. And so just be mindful of that anytime you're approaching a dispute situation and it has to get legal, there can be a challenge in actually getting those damages awarded, even if it's something that you and I might see as blatant damage, okay? Number two is that as the landlord, you have the burden of proof if you are deducting money from a security deposit or if you're charging a tenant. So what is that proof? Well, the move-in inspection before the tenant moves out will be a great thing to look back on after the tenant's moved out and you have a move-out inspection. A lot of landlords that aren't doing it professionally, they might go in and take a few pictures, they might write a few things down, but I encourage you to do a very thorough and comprehensive move-in and move-out inspection that have a very similar format. So when you put them together, it tells a full story of the condition before and after. Again, that burden of proof. And there's some great technology out there. There's actually apps on your phone or your iPad, whatever it is, where you can document everything with photos and with video. There's even 360 cameras now where you can put the camera in the middle of the room. It will do a 360 panoramic of the entire room and the ceiling and the floor below. Excuse me. It's pretty cool. So that way you can actually zoom in specific areas and you can capture the whole thing. So that's number two, is a really good documentation process. And then the third one is, sometimes property owners that are hiring us for our management services will say things like, I want to make sure that the unit is once the tenant moves out, that it's returned to you and returned to me in the exact same or better condition as when they got it. And just to be honest, it's just an expectation that is unrealistic to expect that a unit will be returned in the same condition or better. It's kind of like the golden unicorn. It's just something that doesn't really exist. And in the rare event that it really is returned in just incredible condition, right? It's just something to really count your blessings for if that happens. But it's not the reality of being a landlord and owning a rental. Now, does that mean it's returned to you in terrible condition? No, it's not. But sometimes that's the case. And as landlords, we prepare and we expect the unexpected, right? We expect things to happen. We have turn budgets. You can watch my video on how I recommend budgeting for a turn. But the reality is, you guys, is that there's going to be issues. There's going to be some dents in the walls, some scratches, because people are living there. There might be some stains in the carpet. There might be some wear and tear, right? And there might be some other things that go a little bit beyond wear and tear, or even a lot beyond wear and tear, that you might say, you know what? This tenant was living there for 5 years. That means 4 turnovers that you avoided, which is thousands of dollars in savings. So rather than splitting hairs on a lot of the, maybe there's some touch-up cleaning or some additional paint touch-up or whatever it is, maybe you should throw them a bone and be helpful for them in their situation. You also have to consider how old is the carpet, right? Because when you go into a situation of dispute and it happened to go to a court scenario, the judge is going to want to look at the depreciated life of the paint and the carpet. Carpet has a 7-year life, and paint is usually a 5 to 7 year life. And so when you're looking at that and you depreciate it out, if that carpet was 10 years old and you're trying to charge them because there was a tear or there was stains, that's not going to go so well for you, okay? And you may want to just consider, okay, we've used up the useful life of this carpet or the paint or the appliance or whatever it is. You got to take that into consideration as you're looking at deducting charges for a tenant. So those are my 3 things for today. There's probably 4 or 5 all the way to 20 when it comes to tenant move-outs and strategy there, but I'm not going to go into all those today. But I hope this is helpful. If you liked it, share it. If you're seeing it on YouTube, like it. You can subscribe, all those good things, and subscribe to the email list. Thanks, you guys. As always, reach out, reply to the email if you're getting this in email form with any questions or if you liked this. And you guys take care and have a good one. See ya.